The Story of My Life by Josh Soto. So to start off things, I was born in Manhattan, New York on January 10, 2000. It was a tough time, and for the most part, life went on and on. I am the second oldest of five. That is my father and me. Then the city of New York and Manhattan. That's Times Square. Um, 5 siblings, the 5 kids, and the rest of my family on to the bottom. I am the second oldest of five. There's 2 guys and 3 girls, as seen from the pictures. Yeah, so everyone goes through struggles throughout life, whether it be later rather than sooner. Most people nowadays have experienced a lot of misfortunes happening to their lives sooner, and it has taught me quite well from a standpoint, and coming into college with that standpoint really changes the perspective of how things get viewed, whether it be social justice, being a peer leader, or just seeking further education along the my father was a stay-at-home dad. He was this. He by the time I turned 3, he got divorced with my mom. Um, my mom had clearly just abandoned us through a abusive relationship that she's had with him and her children, and it just escalated to a lot of more darker themes that shouldn't have happened. Aside from that, growing up without my sisters was not ideal. Since my father did win custody over the 5 children he had, he practically told my aunt, or gave permission to my aunt, to raise my sisters. So then my aunt has raised the 3 girls, and then my father was raising the 2 boys. But due to financial problems, my father couldn't stay everywhere he lived in Manhattan, and cost of living turned high, so we started traveling to places that were a little bit cheaper at the time. And up until more financial problems came about, we kept on moving. From where we started was from New York, and then we went to Rome, then Puerto Rico, and Illinois was when I moved to Illinois was when after my father has passed, which was in 2010, and then Florida, and then ultimately ending up in Indiana with Indiana State as my college experience. My father was dedicated to teaching me and my brother everything he knew right from the get-go. So from a very early age, we were trying to learn more languages, a better advance of understanding, comprehension, and reading, and a developing an understanding in mathematics. I learned Spanish, English, and Italian through him before he passed, and a lot of factors were involved with me not getting over that, and not interacting with my sisters pretty much limit my abilities. But all in all, we all had fun, and we were always there for each other, even though we weren't as close at some given points. Um, these are more pictures of my grandmother, the grandmother who took us in right after my father has passed. My father's holding me and my brother. The 5 siblings with my uncle and aunt and his 2 children. the little two children right here, who later went on to become great cousins and more family members up here of the full family with what it is now. And my father was always by my side, and he was just super supportive of me, and I know that if he was still here, he'd be supportive and taking care of what people would need from him and supporting others. I have greatly developed thanks to him. Aside from that, I went to high school, going through high school after my father passed. Being a Jew has really affected me quite a bit. It is one of the identities I stand out with the most, and I know in Sahi we have discussed topics over what we should, how we identify, how we should not attack identities, but instead support each other and develop a less controversial ideal of how identities should be defined. In high school, I was being told a lot of racist and anti-Semitic jokes with Hitler being in power and just having Jews being attacked. And even today, at many places, that still occurs with other children, and it does cause emotional trauma to those children. All in all, at IISU, I have developed quite a bit. Through Sahi, I have started to understand how it is how people grow, and we all start off from a different perspective in our timelines, and coming in, we may struggle with someone else at the same time, but all in all, there's always people there for you by your side, and the feeling of marginalization that does start at the beginning of the year will end throughout as the year progresses and more opportunities approach your academic status. I know for me, I met Alpha Sigma Phi later in the semester after struggling a little bit because I was feeling alone, didn't have much people to hang out with. But Alpha Sigma Phi was a great fraternity that their motto was to better a man, so I went on for it and started to understand a better comprehension of how people start to grow, and you don't grow one way. There's multiple ways of growing, and growth does impact many characteristics of many people, as well as with Alpha Sigma Phi, the sorority Delta Gamma, which is a picture over here at the Delta Gamma slide. The girls and Alpha Sigma Phi are practicing for sync. We're about to do sync at that day. Alpha Sigma Phi brothers with myself on Delta Gamma's formal, and then our initiation for Alpha Sigma Phi. The ladies of Delta Gamma have really impacted me greatly, and the impact they have done has been a great positive impact. I do not see myself, I would have not seen myself doing and taking this opportunity of bettering myself through the fraternity, through Greek life, and being supportive of others, and without them, I feel like marginalization would have taken a toll on me, and it would have taken part from others as well, from others' experiences. Aside from this, it did lead to many great friendships, and what keeps me up in college are my great friends at Delta Gamma, mostly Emma, McKaylee, and Brittany, which pictures of them are present in this slide. I do go out to the fountain from time to time and play guitar. The guitar has been quite a good hobby of mine. I have taken it to class. I have walked out at night playing around and just soothing what stresses occur during finals week. Aside from that, another thing that calms me is Groot. Groot from the Guardians of the Galaxy movie is a Marvel character, and it does impact me quite well, not by what he does, but because of how cute and adorable that little creature is. And all in all, Alpha Sigma Phi and Delta Gamma are what it's keeping me up and in the NSA and what makes me become a better person. And with the RA position as a student leader, I plan on taking an executive decision on making people realize that they matter sooner in the year rather than when they start feeling marginalized. They don't separate from their movement groups and keep them here at Indiana State with the great support system we have, because there's a lot of systems that people do for each other at Indiana State, and Sycamores are a good place to be at. Aside from that, that is mainly what I want. I cannot wait till I meet all my fellow residents and all the other staff members in Jones Hall for the next fall. I am greatly appreciated for the opportunity, and I hope that one day I will affect my residents how my experience has went in Indiana State currently, and how I can approach many different problems of them being marginalized and having the correct impact with my intent, my good intentions, to keep them here in the NSA and not push anyone away, because I know marginalization can be a very much problem that does occur in many places. So yeah, I cannot wait till I meet people in Jones and start working with all my fellow residents and see how different experiences have gathered throughout the years, and where everyone starts off at with their timeline is always going to be different, but it leads to great experiences, and many people will be understanding of that aspect. Aside from that, those are my sources, and I hope that everything will go well for everyone, especially for finals, and that is my digital analysis project concluded.